So thank you for being here today. I'm very happy to have Jamie and Lisa with us from Freedom Credit Union to talk about scams. We all know that they're very relevant. They have been for years, unfortunately.
Yeah.
So I'm just going to turn it over to them. Again, feel free to get up and get some snacks or water during the presentation.
All righty.
Good morning.
Good morning. This is a very important topic. I just think I wish there were so many more people that would be here because we're seeing it every day. I'm a fraud analyst at Freedom Credit Union, and I deal with this on a day-to-day basis. I see everyone of all ages being scammed. But unfortunately, our seniors kind of tend to be a target because you're at a point in your life right now where you have a steady income coming in. Some people have a larger nest egg, and you're from that generation where you trusted everyone, okay? You never locked your doors, you were always there for one another. And that's what they're preying on now, especially if you have a family member that, reaches out to you and saying, I need help, you're right there to help them. But unfortunately, these scammers are pretending they're your friends or your family members. And we're going to talk about 6 different types of scams and what you can do to protect yourself, what to look for, and unfortunately, what to do if it does happen to you. So there's a lot on this screen. I'm just going to talk about a couple items on this screen. This is from the Federal Trade Commission from 2022. The top scams that were hitting everyone were imposter scams, online shopping scams, prizes and sweepstakes, investments, and business and job opportunities. This is still exactly what we're seeing right now, okay? They're just getting more savvy at knowing what to say to you to get you to comply with what they'd like you to do. So in 2022, there were 2.4 million fraud reports from people of all ages, okay? With a total of $8.8 billion reported loss. But I want to talk about what's really important to us is this is what was reported. I would guess this number is probably double because so many people are afraid to come out and say, I was frauded. They're embarrassed and they don't want to tell anyone. So I'm going to say it over and over again through this presentation is please don't isolate yourselves. If you think there's something that is off, you think you might be being scammed, please reach out to someone, whether it's a friend, a family member, your senior center, the police, your financial institution. Please reach out to somebody because like just today, I spoke to a woman who had deposited a check and it came back as fraud. She was in her 50s and she goes, well, I thought it might have been a scam. But she ends up, now she's overdrawn because she used some of the money. And I'm like, if you ever think, you have that little feeling in the back of your head or in your gut, like, I don't know if this is really good, stop into your financial institution. Ask them, can you verify this check for me? And we would have absolutely, checked the check and made sure that it was not fraudulent. I just got another report just yesterday. This specifically has to do with seniors. This is from the FBI. So in 2022, there were 88,262 seniors that were over the age of 60 that were frauded, which was reported. Again, I'm sure it's a lot more than that, okay? There was $3.1 billion lost to seniors, okay? It was an 84% increase. 84% increase from 2021. That is huge. And a lot of this also comes from COVID. During COVID, we didn't see as many scams, but they were behind the scenes developing all new ways to scam. They're developing identity theft. We're seeing a lot more in that. Synthetic identity. That's another whole topic I could do a whole program on. But we're seeing a lot of that. So the average dollar amount per senior was over $35,000 lost. Okay, so I just wanted to tell you those numbers. And again, I don't want you to isolate yourself. If you happen to get scammed, it's happening to everybody. And I know everyone says, oh, I would never do this. These people know what to say and what to do to get you to comply. They can threaten you, and they can just scam you, make them seem as someone that you know. Okay, so just please don't isolate yourself. Please reach out to somebody to report it. Go to the next screen. Just want to hand you a couple. Inside here too is also a copy of this presentation, so if you want to look back at it later, because there's a lot of content we're going to talk about. So the top scams we're going to talk about today, and that are targeting seniors, are the grandparent scams, but doesn't necessarily mean grandparent, a family scam, because I currently have a member who is being scammed this way that's supposedly a family member. Mail theft, check washing, we're going to talk about that. Online romance scams, and it doesn't even have to mean romance, just somebody who's befriending you online. Online shopping scams, Christmas is right around the corner, so I want to talk about that. Phone scams and charities, and computer scams is what we're going to talk about. So each one we're going to talk about in depth, about what to look for, how to protect yourself, okay? So the grandparent scam is the most devious one because they go after seniors with this because they know you all have big hearts. And I talked about this in the beginning, is you can't come from a trusting generation. You never locked your doors. So they target you for this. And like I said, it doesn't always have to be a grandchild. It can just be a family member. And the scammer will call posing as this family member. Sometimes they have the grandchild or family member's name, but sometimes they'll fish for it. And I'll tell you what I mean on the next screen about what that is, what that means by phishing. They also now, with artificial intelligence, can simulate their voices so it sounds like them, okay? But once that fake grandchild is in and has you talking to them, they will say there's some type of urgent emergency. I've been in a car accident. I need rent money. I need bail money. Some kind of family emergency, or somebody in the family needs surgery, okay? And then they'll say, you can pay me by MoneyGram, you can wire the money. Gift cards is a huge scam now. Or they'll even provide a courier to pick it up from your home, okay? But again, here we're talking about isolating yourself. The scammer will try to isolate you because they will absolutely say, do not tell anyone. Do not tell my parents, do not tell another family member, do not tell the financial institution. They try to isolate you, okay? Now, before we go on to the next screen, this happened to my family last Thanksgiving, okay? On Thanksgiving Day, we went to my niece's home. She lives out near Boston. And once everyone got there, her father-in-law says, I need to tell you all a story. And the day before Thanksgiving, Wednesday, he received a phone call from the Billerica Police Department. That's the town he lives in, okay? And they said, we have your grandson Logan here. That is his grandson's name, okay? And they said, we have him here. He was in a car accident. He's in the infirmary right now. We're just finishing up with him. Gave him a few details about the car accident, but he wanted us to call you. He goes, I'm going to transfer you over to him. So the phone clicks like a transfer. And all of a sudden, the person on the line goes, Papa, this is Logan. Now, he didn't say Grandpa, Grampy, Papa, and that's how they refer to their grandfather, is Papa. So they had the grandson's name, and they knew how they referred to the grandfather. So he's like, oh, this has got to be real. Because, he was 68 years old when this happened. He still worked. He had everything, he knew what he was doing. So he's like, this has got to be real. So we listened to him, and he said, I've been in a car accident. I hit a woman that was 7 months pregnant. I don't know how she is doing. He goes, I got my mouth stitched up. He goes, but I need bail money. And so the father-in-law said, well, wait a minute. We need to contact your father. And he's like, no, no, no. Here's the isolation. Please don't tell him. I'm embarrassed, and I don't want to tell him over the phone. You know how he'll be a wreck. He goes, can you help me? And then we'll go together and we'll tell him in person once I'm out. He goes, okay. So then the phone transferred back to the policeman. And he told them all this information to write down on an envelope, the case number, all this information he had to write down, and told him the money he needed for bail. And he goes, and he told them, you're going to drop off this envelope at the town hall. So there's 3 solid things he thought he had. They had the grandson's name, they call him Papa, and he's going to the town hall. This has got to be real. So he went to the bank, took out the money, got back home, wrote on the envelope everything that was needed, put the money in there. But then he called back the supposed police department. And the policeman, he said, I'm all ready. I'm going to the town hall. He goes, will you have my grandson ready for me to pick up? He goes, well, wait a minute. He goes, this is the day before Thanksgiving. The town hall closes at 1 because it's now 2:30. He goes, but we have a courier sitting right outside your home right now who will bring the money to the bailiff. He looked out the window and there was a car running, sitting in front of his house. He goes, I'm hanging up and I'm calling the police, and then the car took off. Okay, so look at all the items that this scammer had on them. So I'm going to go on to the next screen and we'll talk more about the story at the end of the screen. So how to protect yourself. So this is the phishing part, what I mean by phishing. If the person on the phone states, hello grandma, or hi grandma, or grandpa, don't guess who it is. Because at that point, the scammer doesn't know what the grandchild's name is. They're hoping that you're going to guess. So if you say, is this Michael? Well, then they're going to say, yeah, this is Michael, and then continue on with the game, okay? So that's what phishing means. So if someone says, hello, grandma, or hello, grandpa, say, who is this? Because they might not have the name, and they might just hang up, okay? Or if they say, this is your grandson, which one? You know? So don't get caught up in the urgency of the phone call. That's the other thing they're going to do. We have to do this right away, right now. I need this money now. Don't get caught up in the urgency. You know, listen to the information they're telling you. Write it down if you can. When it hangs up, take a deep breath, because you're going to think that they're really hurt, you know, or something is really wrong. Take a deep breath. Either reach out to that family member, reach out to a different family member, reach out to somebody else. Try to find out if this is really true or not, okay? Don't act on it right away, okay? Don't isolate yourself. Like I said, I'm going to repeat that over and over again. The fraudsters know exactly what to do to pull at your heartstrings. Like I said, it's going to be urgent. They're hurt. I need your help. You know, they'll be crying. They know exactly what to say. Don't get caught up in that, okay? Please make that phone call to verify that this person really needs the help. I've heard so many times that the person has hung up, called that other family member, and they're like, no, you know, Joey's sitting right here. He's not in a car accident. This is happening every day, okay? So this is what has to deal with my family situation. Be mindful of what you or any of your family members are posting on social media, whether it's Instagram, Facebook, because this is what the fraudsters scour. They go through it trying to make family connections. You know, they can find out who you're friends with, who your family members are, everything on social media. So after the end of the story, when on that Thanksgiving day, he told us, he goes, how did they get all this information? I said, I remember seeing on Facebook, they go camping during the summer, and I remember his wife posting a picture, and it said, Logan with Papa, okay? Phone numbers, addresses, Google's their best friend. You can get that. It's all right online. So please be careful of what anyone is posting in your family on social media. Don't put names. If someone's going on vacation, don't take pictures while you're on vacation and be posting them. You know, if you want to, wait till you're home back in your house, then post a few pictures. You don't want them to know that you're not in your home. Okay? So any questions on that one? Because I'd rather have questions all throughout and not just wait to the end when we're on a subject. Okay. And I know it's a lot of information and there's a lot to go through, so I am going to go fast, but like I said, I have it all pre-printed in your packets for you. Mailbox theft and check washing. This is happening in all of our neighborhoods around here, and it's been on the news, it's been in the newspapers, okay? Mailbox theft occurs when a homeowner places their mail in their own mailbox, puts the flag up waiting for the mailman to pick it up. Don't do that. That little flag or putting your mail in there is just waiting for a scammer to take it, okay? Also, I'm going to go off how the screen goes, but our blue mailboxes are being broken into. They're stealing the keys from our mail carriers, unfortunately, and when they steal a key, it's a generic key for that route, so they can break into multiple boxes. They're stealing the mail. Another way they're stealing the mail, and I found this out at a fraud presentation from the postal inspectors, is there's mouse traps that you can buy that are glue. So like it attracts the mouse to it and the mouse gets stuck in it and they can't go anywhere. They come in sheets. So what the scammers are doing is they're taking the full sheet of these little sticky things, peeling off the cover, attaching a string or rope to it, opening the blue mailbox, stick it in, pull it out, they get a handful of mail. 30 seconds, they're out of there. and they've got the mail.
The big mailbox?
Yep, the postal mailboxes.
Wow.
Yep, they open it up. Some, I know one in my town in Granby, there's not even a door, it's just an open slot. But they just slide it right in, and the glue is so sticky because it holds onto a mouse that all this mail comes out, okay? So I'll go onto the screen about how to protect yourself from that. But going on to what they do with this mail is the check washing, okay? What they're looking for is bills that you wrote out, personal checks, or gifts that you send in the mail, okay? They take that check and they wash it in a solution. What it does is it removes all the ink from a pen off that check, okay? I found out at that same presentation, what they use, I thought it was a special magic solution. It's acetone, it's nail polish remover. And that's what they use, and I've done it. I went to all of our branches and I've shown a demonstration. I'll write out one of my own checks. You put it in the acetone, 30 seconds a minute, it removes all the ink. You put it out, it takes about 1 minute to dry. The check isn't touched, you can't even tell that check was put in acetone, and it doesn't even smell. Now, for ladies, I know you can tell when you use nail polish remover, it smells afterward. On a check, it retains no smell. So then they take that check and they rewrite it to whoever they want. So they rewrite it to a scammer, or they'll say, hey, deposit this check in your account. When you get the money out, you can have $100, and they keep the rest. So I even had a coworker who had hers stolen out of her mailbox in 16 acres, and they rewrote it for $8,000. So it's, you get your money back from your financial institution, but it's just a lot of pain, and you've got to. So in your bags, I put a gel pen in there. Right now, the scammers have not figured out how to erase gel ink. So please write, and when you go to a store, after that one dries up, you can buy gel pens. Bic makes them, every company makes them, okay? Just make sure they're a gel pen. On those pens, when you click it open, there's a little red dot on the end of the pen. Just pull that off. It's just to protect during shipment that they didn't leak or anything. Because a lot of people try writing with them, and they're like, my pen doesn't work. I'm like, no, you got to pull the little red dot off the end. So when you write your checks, if you still write checks, please use a gel pen. Okay. So we're going to go on to the next screen on how to protect yourself. I already mentioned a few things, but again, don't place your mail in your own mailbox. If you have to, place it into a blue mailbox. Best ever, bring it inside your post office. Okay? When your mail is delivered at home, try to pull it in as soon as you can, because someone could be sending you a check in the mail and they could be stealing that from you. So going in and out, try to get your mail in as soon as possible from your mailbox.
See, where we live in, we have a mail room.
And you have all individual ones
Yeah.
that you don't have to worry about as
But
much.
when I mail checks out, bills, we have a big box in front of our building, the main building.
I just wouldn't trust any of them.
Yeah.
Yep. The post office is trying to they're installing new boxes right now, but it's going to take forever to replace them all. What they're replacing is a smaller opening, and then inside that opening there's teeth. So yes, you can put your mail in, but when they try to pull something out, it's going to pull it off, say like those sticky.
That's what we got.
Okay, yep, that's okay.
Yeah.
As for now.
I know, because it was different than the other one.
Right. So, and the other thing we still have to worry about is the mailbox keys being stolen. I saw on the news one night, they showed a mail carrier being attacked by 2 men stealing his keys. And he's trying to get away from them, but they got it. And so give them a few seconds, they've got a bunch of mail out of those blue mailboxes. So another thing is monitor your accounts daily with online banking. I don't know if any of you use your financial institution's online banking. I know a lot of people used to say, oh, I don't want to do that, it can get hacked. Financial institutions have so much software that protects our online banking because we have to. I cannot imagine how someone can really get in. We're very vigilant about it. But even if you don't want to pay your bills through online banking, still write your checks. But go onto your accounts every day, look on your online banking, and make sure your check's clear for the amount that you wrote them for. Okay? And don't even just look at, say, check number 140. Oh, that cleared. Look across and make sure it cleared for the amount that you wrote it for. That's another way, so right away you know if it was cash for the wrong amount. Some people will wait for a statement to come, and already a month's gone by before you know your check has been written for a wrong amount. okay? So please, if you don't have online banking and you're interested in it, go to your financial institution. Someone will gladly help you set up online banking, just so even if you could just view it. And right now, that is the safest way to pay your bills, unfortunately. Again, like I said, use a gel pen to write out your checks. And if this does happen to you, you have to report it to 3 places. Right away, contact your financial institution. You need to report it to the police department, and then report it to your local post office. Because the post office, the postal inspectors are looking for rings now because this is happening so often. Like I know on the news in Springfield, probably a month ago, it was on there like, do not put your mail in the blue boxes. They were telling people right on the news, don't put your mail, because so many keys were being stolen. Yes, sir?
Yeah, with the online banking, you can also set up alerts.
Yes,
So that
absolutely.
check, it comes in, it's more than, $200 or something like that, it's gonna let you know.
Yep.
You can set that amount.
Yep, there's all different alerts you can do with online banking. But I remember I used to be a branch manager, and people come in, nope, I don't trust online banking, and I'm like, it's your best friend right now. Just keep a watch over your accounts. I look at my accounts every single day, always have, just to make sure everything looks kosher, okay? So romance scams, and again, this doesn't necessarily mean romance. It could be just somebody who friends you, okay? But people of all ages are being hit by this, okay? But the older the target, the higher the financial toll on it, okay? And they target seniors due to you might be isolated, which I'm saying don't isolate yourselves. You might be lonely and just looking for a friend, okay? They will reach out through some social media site, whether it's a dating app, Facebook, Instagram, and they can pose to be anyone they want to be, okay? A lot of the time, these people aren't even in the country that do the romance scams, okay? And they will take their time developing your friendship, your trust, and it can take up way over a year, and then they'll finally start asking for money, okay? A story I heard at that same conference was this woman got up on stage and she spoke for an hour. And she had us all in tears, but she was scammed by a romance scam. And what had happened is in her late 50s, she lost her husband. But she says, I wasn't looking for romance. I found the love of my life. I wasn't interested in that. So she started taking in dogs, foster dogs, and they were hospice dogs. So dogs at the end of their life she was taking in. So one day she happened to post on Facebook just a picture of her dogs and what she was doing. Someone commented on her post and said, this is such a wonderful thing that you're doing, and just started a chit-chat, a conversation, okay? And she tapped on the picture to see who this person was, and he was in the military, he was over in Iraq, he had lost his wife, he had 2 children that were in boarding school here in Pennsylvania. So it was, it was just, he had this whole story, But anyone can be anyone they want to be on Facebook.
That is so amazing. I went to the last scam presentation they had here, and I'm scared to death because I got scammed, and I'm very nervous about it. I went home, and I got this notification, this message on Facebook. I am in the Army in South Korea, and I'm a widower. My son's in boarding school, and I'm looking for, and I really like what you write on Facebook, so I'm wondering if we could, just chat a little bit. And I'm wondering, he's in the Army. Where do you get time in the Army to go on the computer and Facebook anybody? So I also, right then I was distrustful. Then he moved way too fast and wanted to get on some sort of a app they have. I don't know this stuff. And so we could see each other and talk to each other. And I went, oh my God, and that was it. I blocked him, and I don't go on Facebook hardly at all anymore. So it was amazing, same story. I'm widowed, my son is in boarding school.
Yep.
I'm protecting the country, I'm in South Korea, and I'm lonely.
Yep. And she said, they continued talking, and the next thing she's messaging the supposed children, Then he did start to, after a few months, profess his love. I think I'm falling in love with you. She's like, no. This is too fast, But then she was lonely. She had no children of her own. So she enjoyed having these other children. She started to send them gift cards so they could buy themselves stuff at school. And then the money started to flow, okay? So then she did try to FaceTime him once, and he shut it right, like she didn't even get to see him. It shut right off, and he's like, don't you ever do that. I'm in the service. You know, I'm undercover. This is gonna, you know, exploit where I am. So she went on with that. So, but then eventually he said, you know, I'm coming home. You know, I need this money to come home. Can you please help me send me some money? At that point, she'd given away mostly all of her money, okay? People who are in a service don't need money to come home. They don't need money for insurance. They don't need any of that. So she sent him the money, and she went to the airport. He told her when he was coming in, and she sat there and waited, and he never came home.
How old was
Okay.
this woman, may I ask? Do you have any idea?
She's in her early 60s.
Early 60s.
Yep.
Well, I'm going to tell you, the face picture I had on Facebook was 2 kittens. And he wrote and said, you are so beautiful. I said to myself, I have 2 kittens. I don't have my picture on Facebook. Thank you very much anyway.
Yeah. But then she knew she had been duped. She knew, you know. So life continued on. She lived in California. Well, then her air conditioning went in her home. And at that point, she didn't have money to fix it, okay? So she bought a portable air conditioner, and it was a really hot night. So she had all of her, still had her foster dogs, had them all in the living room with her, and they were sleeping there. She got up during the night to go to the bathroom, and she came back in. Sparks were all flying out of this air conditioner unit. So she's trying to put it out because she didn't want anybody to know what was going on. In the end, she ended up in the hospital. She lost her home and all the dogs.
Oh, no.
Okay? So AARP was her best friend. And for everybody, that's a great resource, AARP. I reach out to them all the time. Their website, looking for content, numbers, information. And they helped her. She got a new home. Of course, she had insurance money. And she was able to move into a new home. So a few months after that, she gets a video call. Isn't it the gentleman? But it's the real gentleman. I shouldn't call him a gentleman. It's the real man, okay? He wasn't in the service. He was in Kenya. He was in Africa, African American. And so he divulged his picture and everything to her, and he asked her for more money. I need $1,500. She's like, I don't have any money. She goes, you took it all. He's like, I know you got money. So he's been following her, knowing what was happening, and he knew that she got money from insurance.
Oh.
Yep, and she's hung up, thank goodness. But they don't give up. So that's why I just want to tell you the end of that story. And you know, it's just a sad, sad situation. And this happens all the time. And people say, I'll never fall for this. But they know what to say. They know what to do. They have so many scripts. But we'll go on the next page and we can just talk a little bit about how to protect yourself from this. So take it slowly. You know, they wanted to rush it along. Ask a lot of questions looking for inconsistencies, okay? Be aware of a person who wants to leave the site right away and wants to go to a different app, because some of these other websites can be tracked, where when you go to an app, you're all alone with this person. Be cautious if they don't want a video chat, because then you can't really see who the person is, okay? Even still then, they could be still scamming you. But then you make a mental note if they promise to meet in person, but they always cancel. Okay, I got to babysit, I can't make the trip now. Okay, if they're asking for money for the trip, never send money to someone you've never ever met, okay? I have a woman right now who's being scammed from somebody who's pretending to be a family member, okay? They video chat every single day. It's 2 elderly women, but the other woman who's in Nebraska, there's somebody else behind her telling her what to say and do to get her to keep sending money. So it's just a sad situation because she thinks she's sending money to help this person, and our member won't listen to me because they have them so set in their minds that, you know, they know what to say. Be cautious if an individual tells you they're in love with you right away and they can't live without you. And this is where, again, the last line here is, you know, please share with a family member, a friend, someone at the senior center, anyone, just to see what they think about it. Okay? I mean, somebody could want to be friends with you, you know, you could, but most of the time if it's online, I would not trust anything. But always share, don't isolate yourselves. Okay? If it's starting to become like a romance, like I think this woman I talked about, then I think she was embarrassed to say something. But please, don't isolate yourselves. That's the worst thing anybody can do. Online shopping scams. This hits everybody, all ages, every day. Online purchasing is the most common scam type according to the Better Business Bureau, accounting for 37% of all the complaints. Typically a shopping scam starts with a website, a mobile app on social media, Facebook. You'll see all these sites. And like this spring I was looking for raised garden beds, and I Googled raised garden beds, and then kind of looking at different ones, but then all of a sudden on Facebook I start getting all these sales, 50% off, from Home Depot. Now, I knew enough to go to the Home Depot website to look, and of course there's no special deal like that. Scammers can pose to be all different companies. They can pay to have their ad put first. If you see like sponsored, a lot of the times those are scams. They're paying to have them put first. Okay? The items will be offered at fraction of a cost. Okay? If it's too good to be true, it's too good to be true. If they'll say, you're going to get this for free, but you have to pay $50 in shipping. No, don't go for it, okay? But your losses might not stop there, because this is what happens to most people. The phony sites, apps, or links, or pop-up ads are most of the time embedded with malware. And what that means, it's like a virus that gets into your computer. If you click on something, it lets them right in, okay? And they can infect your computer, they can start finding out your passwords and get into everything that's inside of your computer. And we store so much in computers and in our phones these days. So don't ever click on anything, especially on online. If you're online and you're scrolling through things, don't click on it. You can copy and paste it into a browser, or go right directly to that website. Go to HomeDepot.com. Go to their website, okay? And then sometimes they'll notify you that you need to verify your payment or order information. Say if you do order something online, and all of a sudden you get an email or a pop-up saying we need to verify your information, and they start asking for your credit card information again, it's probably a scam, okay? They're trying to get your credit card information to go charge somewhere else with it, okay? I know, scary stuff. So how to protect yourself? Again, use the trusted sites rather than searching for an item, okay? So say, even if you see something in your feed and you're saying, oh, like I said, the garden beds, well, this looks good. Go to that specific website to look it up, okay? Comparison shop, make sure your deal is not too good to be true, okay? Look twice at the URLs, and that's the website itself, to make sure the numbers aren't transposed and it's a valid site. So I kind of did this to kind of explain it. So I don't know if everybody can see this, and I can go around more. This is a valid website. When it says HTTPS, S means it's secured. If you ever see something that says HTTP with the colon, that's not secured, okay? And this is spelled out correctly. HomeDepot.com. And a lot of times they'll have a little lock here. That means it's secure too. That is good. What scammers do is they have to change it by a letter or by a symbol. So if you look at the bottom one, home, there's a 4 here instead of the E, okay? That's a scam website. They can put like a $sign there or something else, but it can't be the true website. They're going to change it by one thing and just think your eyes aren't going to catch it. So please pay attention to the websites, okay? Always look for that S, look for the lock sign, and make sure it's spelled correctly, okay? It's hard when I explain that and finally says, I need to put this on paper. So another thing, very important, when you're purchasing something online, it's okay to purchase things online. Use a credit card, okay? Credit cards, your only liability could be up to $50. And that's it. That's a regulation, okay? If you pay using your debit card, you're using your money to pay for it. Where a credit card, you're using the credit card company's money. If you use your debit card, and it could be a scam, it has to be disputed. You get provisional credit from your financial institution, and then the financial institution has to go to MasterCard or Visa, because that's who supplies debit cards, and they get the final approval or not if you get to keep that provisional credit, okay? And so sometimes people are out hundreds of thousands of dollars because it gets denied. Okay? So always pay when you purchase something online. Please use a credit card. Don't use your debit card. Don't play with your money. Don't put your debit card number out there. Put a credit card number because you're only liable for $50. And again, don't provide more info than the retailer needs when you're purchasing something online. You know, your billing address, your mailing address, and your credit card number. Don't, if they start asking weird things, don't give it any of that. They might be looking for security questions, okay? Phone scams. I'm sure everybody gets these every day, okay? Money is solicited for fake charities all the time, especially after national disasters, okay? I would never, ever give to somebody who calls over the phone, ever, okay? The scammers will pose to be state or local police departments. I get this all the time from the state police, Mass State Police, you know, it's kind of a recording. I never stay on long enough to see where it goes to, but just hang up, okay? Nobody will solicit funds over the phone, okay? Scammers will pose to be the IRS or a government official saying that you owe them money, and they'll start threatening you, okay? The IRS will never, ever, ever call you. They will send you a certified letter if you owe them money, okay? Tech support imposters. We've had a lot of our members get caught with this. They'll pose to be saying that your computer's been hacked, okay? Just hang up. There's no way a tech support company somewhere else can know that your computer's been hacked, okay? Hang up on them. I see you have a question.
Really, yes, because I was going to bring this up after you presented this part of it, because I'm clueless, and I got a phone call, or, you know, this is from so-and-so, and they sounded reliable. You know, I'm calling because you just got hacked. And I said, excuse me? And they said, yeah. And he said, go to your email. Do you have anything from Mexico or anything like that? And I'm saying to myself, who's supposed to know this shit? She's no language. And it's scary, it's frightening.
Mm-hmm.
You know, to think that they could be able to do that, and that I might fall for it because they're representing some of those services that you have alerts with. And
Yep.
I hung up, it didn't do anything, my daughter was so proud of me.
Yep, absolutely. My sister-in-law, she lost her husband 3 years ago. Another thing they do is they scam obituaries. So a month after he had passed, she got a phone call that said her computer had been hacked. But she knew she was having computer problems. So in the end, she gave out her username or password to get into her computer. And then they started asking her to buy gift cards, and that's when the bell went off and she hung up. But at that point, they were already in her computer. So she ran right to her financial institution, closed her accounts, opened new ones, took the brain of her computer to the Geek Squad, and they cleaned it for her. So never give out, we're going to talk about that too, never give out usernames or passwords to anything, because no one will ever ask you for a password, okay? Imposters will spoof financial institutions' phone numbers. This has been happening at a lot of local financial institutions. I belong to a group, a fraud group, that all of us get together every month with local law enforcement agencies, and everybody's been getting spoofed. So what happens, it'll show up, say, Freedom Credit Union, it'll show Freedom Credit Union's calling you, okay? And then they'll start to ask for your debit card number or ask you other personal information, okay? We have that information. So no financial institution should be calling you, asking for your social security number, asking for your debit card number, your username or password for your online banking. We don't have your password. No one would ever ask you that. But they'll be asking those questions, okay? So they're spoofing phone numbers. There's nothing we can do to stop this, unfortunately. So if somebody calls from your financial institution and they start asking you personal identifying information, hang up, then call your financial institution itself, call your local branch that you use, and then verify that someone was calling you, okay? Because this is happening at all different financial institutions in this area, okay? And we've had a lot of members give out, even a detective from one town who deals with the financial crimes of that town, gave out his debit card number. And as soon as he did it, he knew he was wrong. He went, within a minute, he's on his online banking, and he had 4 charges that went through, okay? So just never give out any personal information over the phone if someone is calling you, Okay? I may call you from a financial institution, you may call me from call the financial institution, and I need to verify you. So I might ask you the last 4 of your social and things like that, but you made the phone call. You know you're calling your financial institution. Does that make sense, the difference between? Okay? So I do have to identify who you are. I might ask you security questions, your mother's maiden name, things like that. And now those questions don't even mean anything anymore because these fraudsters have everything now. So now we're trying to find different ways. We do a phone verification where we will text a number and then verify that it's you calling us. Scammers will pose as utility companies, trying to say, oh, you owe us for your electric bill or your cable bill, we're going to shut you off. They will never, ever do that, okay? They will never call you and ask you for money to pay. And then if somebody calls you and you say hello, and then you don't hear anything, you say hello again, and they'll say, can you hear me? Never say yes. They will use that yes as an authorization to do purchases or things like that using your voice recognition, okay? So if someone says, ever on the phone, can you hear me? Say, why, who is this? Or something else. Don't say the word yes, okay? So we'll go on to the next one. So how to protect yourself? I'll say it over and over again. I say it every day at work because it happens every day. Do not give out any personal information if you did not initiate the phone call. I have people giving out their username and their passwords for their online banking every day, young and old. And they think they're getting a loan, and they're going to direct deposit it into their account. And then they get a check remote deposited in. That's fraud. Okay? So please do not give out your username or password to your computer or to your online banking at your financial institution. Okay? Put your phone number on the do not call registry. It works for a few numbers, but most of the time still numbers are getting through, but it's just something else you can do to try to protect your phone number. People call and they want you to make that hasty decision. You owe us this money, pay us this money now. Don't make a hasty decision. Don't get caught up in that. Okay? Con artists will force you to make decisions fast, and they can threaten you. Okay? Hang up the phone. Okay? Make a phone call to a family member or to the company that's supposedly calling you. Okay? Before giving out any information, again, run it by a family member. Don't isolate yourselves. Reach out. Don't feel rushed. Reach out to somebody else. And if you receive a call from someone posing from a financial institution, asking for personal information, again, hang up and call your branch you deal with all the time. Okay?
You know what else? I caught on to that if you listen and there's a lot of people talking in the background, they're in like one of those rooms where everybody's on the phone talking at the same time. That's, just let it go. Just don't stay on the phone and hang up because everybody's doing the same thing, trying to get your money.
Yeah, they do. They rent office space.
Yeah.
And they just have all little cubicles. And that's what they do. All right. Computer scams. Okay, tech support, never mind, the phone call in, okay, where they'll say your computer's been hacked. Besides a phone call, you could receive a pop-up alert while you're browsing on your computer, and it says, you've been hacked, click here, okay? We had a member that lost over $70,000 due to this. She clicked on it, and then she got a phone call from them, and then they told her that someone from her financial institution was stealing her money, and she needed to transfer the money to them. They would keep it safe, and it would help them. She had every type of fraud there was on her account, okay? But never click, again, that's going back to the clicking. Don't click on anything that pops up on your computer. Email and phishing scams. You could receive an email that appears to be from a legitimate company or institution asking you to verify or update your personal information. Don't do it, okay? You may receive an email from the IRS the other way around stating, oh, we have money that's owed to you. We need your account number and routing number in order to deposit it because the one we have on file is not working. That will not ever happen, okay? And I get these all the time. You've won a prize. You've won, it's free, there's never free money out there, okay? So don't fall for those either. There's something else with computer scams.
Well, the social media, like if you've already got a friend request from somebody,
Yes.
that's one. So say Lisa and I are already friends on social media and then I get a duplicate request from her. You want to make sure that maybe she really did close out her old account and she's requesting me. Because that could be a scammer that knew that we were friends, sent me the identical request, I assume it's Lisa, and we go about our lives maybe a week, a month, a year later, Lisa says, hey, I'm stuck, can you send me $200? Of course I'm gonna send her $200, that's my friend. And it's not her, you know, so you gotta check in on that. But yeah, best practice, never click on the link, ever. Copy and paste, if anything.
Yeah. Just yesterday, I was over at my husband's niece's house, and she works for a financial advisor. And so she was at work, and she was on her lunch, so she went onto the computer, and she was going to her Google email. So she went to her email, and she saw an email from Norton LifeLock, okay? So this goes back to my sister-in-law that I said was scammed. Her financial institution had given her 2 years of free Norton LifeLock, so she thought this was maybe a renewal. So she clicked on it, and the next thing they're sending her a verification code. Next thing they got into the computer. So right away she had to shut it down, and then they had an IT specialist come in, and sure enough, they got into her computer. Luckily they didn't get any financial files from this financial advisor, but you think it's something legitimate, but it's not. You know, I'm always getting emails saying I've got a package being delivered from UPS or Amazon, and I get them every day. It's just scams every day.
Or another one I've seen is somebody's trying to get into your Amazon account or your Citibank account. Please change your password. If you click on that link, that's the scammer's link, and now they've got your user ID and password. I know that she's going to talk more about changing your passwords regularly and get in the habit of using passphrases instead of just a simple word, and don't have the same password for all of your accounts, but I think we'll talk more about that.
Yeah. So again, do not give control of your computer to a third party that calls you out of the blue, or you get an email from somebody either. Do not give out your username or passwords ever, okay? Do not rely on caller ID to authenticate a caller. Again, we just explained about the financial institutions being spoofed. So don't trust, you know, the phone call that's coming in if you weren't expecting it. Scammers can spoof company phone numbers too, and they might actually be out of the country, okay? Never provide your credit card or financial information to someone who claims to be from tech support. Just hang up on them. If they try to pressure you to buy a computer security product, they're calling you, hang up. Like Jamie was just saying, make sure you change your passwords regularly and don't use the same password for every program. I know it's inconvenient. What's the saying that Alan says?
Convenience negates security. So if it's convenient, it is not secure.
Okay. So especially if for some reason, somehow they get into your computer and you're using the same password for every program you use, they're going to try it and they're going to get into everything. Okay? And Jamie was mentioning past phrases. It means like, you know, a phrase means like fall time is here, or use like a phrase, and that could be something that'll help you remember it too, but make it longer. The shorter it is, the easier it is to figure them out. Okay?
I think there was a statistic that Alan shared with us, he's our IT security, is an 8-character password takes less than a second to hack. Less than a second, and that's 8 characters.
Yeah, they've got computer systems that are set up, and they can just keep trying until it gets it right, okay? So we're going to repeat over and over again. Do not click on links while browsing or in emails. Just never click on something, okay? You'll see it underlined and highlighted. It wants you to click it. Don't click it, okay? It might contain malware, and it'll affect your computer and give access to the scammers. And again, no financial institution, government office, or company will email you asking you for personal information. So never mind calling, they won't email you either, okay? Mostly everything should be coming through the mail, okay? The last page we have here is information if you do need it. You know, heaven forbid you get, you know, scammed. On the left side is where you can report it, and please report it. The only way we're gonna, like, there was an officer in here just a little while ago, and he says they are just getting bombarded, but they don't have the resources yet. So the more we keep reporting, and they'll have to start getting these resources, because we learned from a detective that, you know, drugs is not the new scheme to go after now. Now it is financial theft and through retail theft. It's easier for them to steal people's financial information because It's easier, it doesn't cost them a lot of money, and right now, they're not having a lot of jail time for it because it's not being reported enough, so we have to report it. On this side is if you think you're part of identity theft, which is really prevalent now. This is all information here. This is another whole program slideshow that I have on identity theft, which will blow your mind about what is like right here in this area. That blew our minds. So if you want us to come back again, we can do that one. But this is just information. It's in your packet. Like I said, I have this whole slideshow in there. I even brought extra copies of this slideshow in case you have friends or family you think might be interested in it. But I know that was a lot of information. We have such a short time to go through it all. But it's just important. Just be very vigilant and just don't get caught up in urgency and don't isolate yourselves. Okay? Please reach out to somebody. Like I said, your financial institutions are always there for you. I always wish people would call me more and say, oh, you should have called me first. I would have helped you with this, So please don't hesitate to reach out.
One thing I want to make sure you guys are seeing is that you're entitled to a free credit report from each of the three bureaus once a year. It won't give you your score, but it will give you your report. And it's important to know what's on there, because if somebody has stolen your identity and they took out a credit card, how would you know? So make sure that you're doing that. It's annualcreditreport.com, or you can call the 800 number there and review it.
Yeah,
I think you had said quarterly, right?
What you can do, what a lot of people are doing is they'll go to Equifax and get that first report. Then they'll wait 4 months and then pull from Experian and wait 4 months and pull from TransUnion. Then that's a year. And then they'll start all over again. So you have a rolling, they all don't report exactly the same, but you have a pretty good picture of what's happening, and that way you can just keep a constant eye on it. They tend to scam either like homeless people or seniors, and they're stealing babies' identities. Okay, all they need is a social security number, and then they can steal identity. But at this point in your age, your credit report probably isn't changing a lot, or you're not applying for new credit, so they look for that. Same thing with a child. They have no credit built, and they'll start to build credit off this child's social security number, and then unfortunately comes to college time, and oops, they have all this credit racked up, and they've never known it.
That's another one, college scams. They get the social security of a college student who's getting financial aid, and boom, they're right there to grab that money.
Yep. I see a lot of college students getting scammed with thinking they're getting jobs or a special scholarship and things like that, and then there's a lot of them, they're giving out their username and passwords to their online banking, and then they get a bad check deposited into their account. Luckily, we review every single one of our checks that are remotely deposited at our institution, so luckily we catch, knock on wood, all of them lately. So, but sometimes, with bigger institutions, they don't have the ability to do that. So, but any other questions?
Well, just a comment with logging on to your financial institution, you can set up, I can't think of the term, authentication, secondary authentication.
Absolutely, yeah.
So that you go to log on, and what it does is it sends a code, it texts a code to your phone.
Yep.
And then you take that code and then you put it in. So no one else can get in, can do that.
Right, exactly.
On your phones.
Right, exactly.
Yeah, some do Face ID too.
Excuse me?
I should go to my bank for that?
Well, you could set it up online.
Well, I wouldn't know how to do
Yeah,
that.
well, it's better go to your bank.
Yeah, and they'll help you set it up online, show you how to get on.
And they'll help you set it up.
Some institutions offer either the fingerprint access or Face ID as well. So you have to have your face in order to get in. Oh, I went back.
Make a point in my bank.
Yeah, but we're always happy to help you set that up. Anything to help protect you. So.
I have a personal story, which I think Alicia might have mentioned to you. Do you mind if I just do 10 seconds of it?
Sure.
For those of you that weren't in the first presentation, I had gotten scammed because I was mentoring a young person. And I'm a retired social worker and drug and alcohol addiction and resources, trying to get recovery. And so I was mentoring this kid because I met him on an AA secular site, Zoom site. So it sounded really authentic and everything. He got my credit card because I had him in my apartment and charged over almost $1,000 worth of stuff from my credit card because he had my credit card. So I was checking my bank account because I was so thrilled that I was actually helping somebody in the world. that I wasn't checking everything in my life. And when I saw this, I freaked out. And I knew it was him, because he was the only person that could have gotten that card. So I called it in, and the bank did a TD Bank did a great job, and I got all my money back. I'm one of the fortunate ones. But don't leave your information anywhere where anybody can get it. Like, I went to the bathroom, boom, he was in my pocketbook. Okay, so don't leave your stuff around.
And even, that's a great point, but even if you're very careful, so I work at a financial institution, I am crazy about shredding everything. Nothing sensitive is left. I got an email from Chase Credit Card, said we're reviewing your credit card information for your recent application. Of course, I didn't click on the link, but I called Chase directly, and sure enough, somebody submitted a credit card application in my name. Maybe about a month or two later, I got a debit card in the mail from Chime. Somebody opened an account in my name. And I'm very, very, very careful with everything. Everything gets shredded, but it still can be out there. It could have been a website that I was on that wasn't legitimate, and I plugged my information to. It could have been anything. So just really, really, really be careful. And again, just don't click anything. And like Lisa said, don't feel like you can't tell somebody. Even if you're embarrassed, even if you're not sure, you don't want to hurt somebody's feelings, because, you know, it's more, you got it. The only person that's going to protect you is you. You have to look out for yourself and be your own advocate.
Exactly. You have a powerful message there. Be our own advocate.
Absolutely.
I'm here today.
Yep. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, people, I just had a woman today I spoke to who received a check in the mail to have her car wrapped for advertising. And they said, you know, here's a check, you know, and we're going to wrap your car and everything. And she deposited it, but she did it through the ATM, so nobody really could see the check. And then it just came back. You know, she said, oh, I thought it was fraud. And I said, you know, you need to, if you ever have a check or you get something in the mail and you want to make sure, stop into your financial institution and show it to somebody. So that way we can tell you if it's fraud or not. And a lot of times we're really trained now to check these checks now.
I heard this saying, it's something like your heart is stupid, your brain is dumb, and your gut is always right.
Yep.
Yeah. That's
You know, so if you might feel bad, especially this generation, that you know, you're very trusting and you want to help people and you want to put your best foot forward.
No.
Not everybody is the same. So always assume the worst.
But
Unfortunately.
any other questions? All right, thank you so much for having us here today. I appreciate it. I know it's not an uplifting topic, but I just think it's so important, and I just wish we get more and more people to hear it, but people don't realize how important this is.
Do any, and this might go to you too, do you go to the high schools and talk to the high school kids about their accounts and what to watch out for? Because as a high school kid, I remember being invincible. Nothing bothered me. I was, you know what I'm saying, no one touched me. But yeah, at the same time, they've got their own checking accounts. And half the time, they're not taught how to use them.
No, exactly. No, we did a couple at a middle school, the summer camp we went to, and then the stories that they started telling us. You know, like my friend was scammed on an online game, and I'm like, this is the target we have to start hitting.
So we do try. We offer student banking for any school that will take us. So if you know any school that's looking, we're happy to come in. We'll do their deposits, or we'll just talk to them. Middle schoolers are hard to talk to, so we did more of like an engagement, you know, activity.
Yeah, it was like a Jeopardy
game.
game.
Them like we're talking to you. Middle schoolers are never going to listen to that. High schoolers, you know, we could try to do. There's all kinds of things that we can do. Any school that you think might be interested in, we are so happy to go do that, because you're right. They don't teach it. It's not a class. But we're trying to make it a class. So
I've always wanted to do a play here of different situations, like the time that I got that alert, security alert, the first time I ever got one, it was screaming at me, it was so loud, and it was a woman saying, you need to call this number immediately, you have been hacked, on and on, flashing.
Really?
Yes, it was horrible. So of course I freaked out, and I started sweating, I started shaking, because I'm new to all this stuff, and I don't know how to do anything on the computer except turn it on and shut it off. And I freely will admit that, but they scared the crap out of me, and I did what they told me to do, and my family just about had a hissy fit. But they didn't get anything from me, but the point is that it traumatized me.
Yep.
You know, and these incidents are very traumatizing.
Right, and that's why I said, like the grandparents scam, they're going to get you all frazzled and that.
I'm afraid to
And
leave my apartment.
don't don't answer your phone. And that's another thing. If you get a phone call and you don't recognize the number, just don't answer it. If it's important, they're going to leave you a voice message.
And sometimes
Okay.
even if they do, it's still a scam. I got a voicemail from the IRS so that the cops were on their way to arrest me because I had a warrant. And unless I paid them right then, I was gonna get arrested. And I was like, well, come on over. I don't know your money, you know, so, but don't, very, very careful.
Yeah. But that's
All
it.
right.
Thank you.
Thank you so
Thank
much.
you.
Thank you.
Thank you for coming, everybody.